It's our time. All right, now let's go with the mic check. 1, 2. What is going on? And good evening. Much love, all the purebloods out there. See if we got the audio coming through now. Check over here. I see no sound, no sound, no sound. Let's see how far behind the chat is. There's the 5x5s. There they are, weighing the pain. Everybody coming in. Good to see everybody. Want to thank IQ for all the undergrounds and everyone out there that received them. Much love. Skiby, much love. Thank you for the super chat. As well, I want to thank everyone that shares the stream. S-Bird, Harm, Brother Tooch, Tacos, everyone out there. And thank you all, Bella, Steve, for the feedback there. Salutes, Hoodie Ross. Hope everyone's doing good. Melody Dawn in the house with us tonight. All right, just want to make sure that we're good. Everything's sounding crisp and on point. And hopefully we can get through the stream here with minimal issues. Unless they want to do something crazy like when I say that and they want to knock out the OBS. But yeah, starting off with the shot there over the ocean. And man, it's been a minute. I'd like to get to the ocean, to be honest with you. It's been some years. Love to see it. I just been on the grind. If you guys got anything to get to me, dabu7@yahoo.com or at me in the chat. Lowrider, much love, my brother. Thank you for sending me information. My only problem with the YouTube clips is that they get dinged. So if you guys are sending me stuff, just I can play Rumble clips, X clips, all these other clips, but all the time, if it's a YouTube clip, they get it. So, Steven, thank you, joining the house. Oh yeah, I'll keep an eye out for it. I missed it, Dwayne. Yeah, hope all is good with everybody. We're going to get this thing rocking here. With a bit of an update, it's an ongoing type of an alert. I try to stay on top of things. As soon as we catch wind of something, get it out there. I'm not trying to brag, but sometimes, man, we're like a week ahead of the pack out there. We'll be dropping information, and a week later, they'll be pushing it in headlines. But something like this is something that, again, has been ongoing. This is referring to a massive hack that has targeted all of us. Every one of us, through every single telecom provider you can think of. They're blaming China. They're claiming it's all cyber espionage. And they're blaming it on the group called Salt Typhoon. Now, I put out there the information that they had hacked into T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T. They were all targeted, and the Chinese got in and was getting all kinds of information. They were accessing people's private voicemails. The messages between individuals. Compromising? Blackmailish? Yeah. Whether it's China or not, somebody's going in here and getting this info. And they've gone as far as to be able to get into the wiretaps that the DOJ are conducting. Now that's a bit. What can they not do? They've gotten into everything. And it's like they're ever so quietly sliding this out there, once a week, a little update on it, but it's a quiet one. It's a soft one. There's no big spotlight on this, and there should be. They're tracking high-profile individuals. They've got the data on congressmen, politicians. They even said they were targeting Trump. Did they get anything? We don't know. But if they're doing that, they got all of our stuff. They got everything. I'd be mindful of all this in the days of blackmail right now and all the stuff going on out there. This is, someone's got your tweets. You may want to start thinking about how you're operating. Seriously. If you're doing anything to potentially incriminate you, and I'm saying anything. You got a buddy and you're swinging by, pick up a bag, you're like, yo, I'm coming through, and you're typing all this stuff. You better be smart. Because, they could be. Anyone could be getting this information. And, someone shows up at your door one day like, hey, let's talk. Like, we got all your text messages here saying that you're going to get this and that and blah, blah, blah. And you're like smoked. So you need to be smart about everything you do. I don't care what it is. Private, personal information, where you're leaving the keys for someone at the house or anything. Someone's watching. They're watching it all. They always have been, but like now it's like up for grabs. In like another government is got its eyes all up in our stuff. Not just our own. The CCP, which is frightening. And it's the Chinese Communist Party, man. We take you back in time when they installed Mao, took the guns from their people and murdered millions, just dug ditches and dropped them in them. Bow, 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 bow. Let me tell you, they don't care about us. Maybe you need a history lesson. There's a reason our forefathers fought wars to keep us free from some of this stuff. And our politicians have sold us out and like walked us right into the hands of places like China, if you ask me. Mitch McConnell's, Biden regime, all this stuff, man. Anything happens, it's because they let it happen. Feel me? But this is ongoing. The extent of it, I've never seen one this bad. Never. It doesn't carry the title, biggest hack ever, or the most information stolen ever. But it's meticulous in where they're going with it. They're targeting individuals and the DOJ wiretaps. Are you kidding me? Like, if our defenses and stuff's that weak and they're just riding right on in, man, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. I feel like something huge is about to happen. I feel like something absolutely huge is about to happen. I've been saying it, but it gets stronger like every day. No. What could happen? Well, grid could go down. Lights could go out. Something we talked about a million times. I hope you have a plan in case it happens. Remember that if the grid goes down en masse, so too, just like in Cuba here, does the internet. And you can go on these sites and they'll show you how it's plunging, falling, and all that stuff, just like over here. This isn't the first time. Cuba's been getting hit with this left and right. This is the second power failure at the Antonio Guterres power plant in months. In October, it got hit. And this sits about 62 miles from Havana. They've just been getting hit. Hurricane hit them. Then they had a power outage. Now they got another one. And you can see right there when it shows the drop-off. Pretty bad. It's really bad. Right there, that drop-off. So, communications is down. I just say keep that in mind. Okay, keep that in mind. Unless you got like a Starlink or you got this or that out there. I don't know, man. Really, when they shut this whole thing down, unless you're prepared to have power and to have comms and all this, OBS cuts out and back in. But I'd say anything's possible, man. We've entered some windows right now that are pretty ominous. All right. I'm going to keep it pushing here. Got a lot to cover. Yeah, Babylon is falling. The whore Babylon. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate those that get the quick feedback when you hear me say that about the OBS. When you give me the quick 5x5 of this and everything, that's usually I know it's good to keep on trucking. But look, our government and a bunch of others have done this green thing, where they've tried to push this whole green thing in the EVs on everybody. It's just not working. They have it as an option. Yeah, it works in some aspects, but it doesn't work the way they're trying to push it. The whole EV car thing's been a massive failure. One of the biggest wastes in terms of government spending that I've seen throughout this Biden regime was when Pete Buttigieg got a huge chunk of money, billions and billions, and only came up with like 7 or 8 stations, charging stations. It was ridiculous. Huge waste of money. They're going in reverse with this. And when it comes to solar and wind, solar's huge. Solar's a huge positive. I see it gaining traction, which it is, like right now. There's brand new technology out there. They've got bifacial panels, which basically they're picking up light off both sides of the panel, front and the back. And they're just producing more wattage. They're lasting longer. Technology's coming along. And they're starting to make panels more and more here in the United States, which we need to see more of. China dominates in a lot of these sectors. We need to take it back. But right now, if there's something you want to get your hands on, I'm going to tell you solar panels. Get them now while you can cheap, when no one's talking about it, and while there isn't a 100% tariff slapped on China, because that's coming. It's all coming. These tariffs are going to shake things up bigger than people even know. I tried to show people on one of the last streams, the last one or the one before, what happened when Trump put tariffs into motion the last time he was president. He took, like, your average, for example, stove or whatever, that was like $600 and some bucks, and somebody ended up paying like $790, say. There was a huge increase on those items, and people just forgot, or maybe they didn't have to buy one, they didn't realize it. But he did that, and that's going to affect everyday items around us more than what anyone even knows. If this starts to backfire, this is where the other side's going to point the finger at all the conservatives, everybody that voted for Trump. They're going to be like, you voted for this, like, it's your fault. And their ire is going to go there, for the people that, but in all reality, this isn't, I'm going to say, so much of Trump's doing. I mean, he's not even in there yet, and the odds are stacked against him. He's getting handed a ticking time bomb, so to speak. It just seems like a setup. I had a crazy vision before the election, and it showed me he was going to get it, and that they were going to dump everything on him. And I said it way back even before the election. So it seems like we're going in that direction. Full steam ahead. But wind. Wind is something that I'm not so sure of. People I know that have wind turbines and have had to maintenance them, take care of them, or had them around, they say that they haven't produced to their liking, and there's a lot of maintenance involved with them every year. Turbines and oiling them up, and they have to be powered themselves, some of them. I don't know. It's crazy. I don't mess with the wind turbines, but look at this story. Look how big of a fluke this is. The United Kingdom government is paying wind farms $1.3 billion to shut down when it's windy. Isn't that just absurd? Like, what's going on there? Well, they're admitting that their grid doesn't have the capacity. So they jumped into this direction to take on all this stuff, but they didn't spend a dime on making their grid any bigger. So my brothers and sisters over in the UK, if you guys end up in the dark, they're admitting they didn't spend a dime on expanding the grid. And that's the reason they're doing this. Now, it should be the other way around. This is just crazy. Usually they do this when they try to put something out of business. Mark, thank you for gifting the underground memberships. Appreciate it to the fullest. Just nuts, man. They're spending that much money. This place should be producing all this energy. They should be making $1.3 billion. You see, not the government turning around coughing up taxpayer money that the people are going to pay for in the end, one way or another. It's ridiculous. The money they spend. We need a huge overhaul. Trump's still trying to get all his picks straightened out. I've got some updates on that here in a minute. I want to point out, though, that Meta, Facebook, making it official that they're embracing nuclear power as well. So this is where it's going. They're going the nuclear route, and they're going to use these little compact, smaller nuclear facilities. That's what they're all aiming to do. It doesn't mean that, all hell can't break loose in one or get hit by a hurricane or anything else and it go into meltdown. Accidents can happen at any of these places, but they're trying to brand it as they're smaller, safer, more compact, and we need it. They've come to the realization, it seems, that they can't push their AI, anything connected to it, unless they have a lot of power. You can't continue anything with like Bitcoin, like mining, any of the projects, because you need energy. I mean, there's people setting up at waterfalls in other countries just to get the energy to mine, and they're doing it. They're successful, and they should be, because it's a massive amount of energy. You could power a city with that much energy. Ah, interesting. Thank you for the comment. Uncommon. Much love, my brother. So don't be surprised if you start to hear talk about this in your state or in other places throughout the next couple of years leading up to 2030, because this is the route they're going to go. And Trump's done said it. There's huge transitions happening with power, and he's telling everybody they're going to have cheap power. The only way that you're going to do that is to be able to produce a lot of it, and it's going to be through this route. Okay, plus easing up any restraints that they have there on natural gas and coal. That would be absolutely huge. If you could revive coal country again in the United States, it'd be huge for the heart of this country, for many states. Half a dozen or more. That would all of a sudden be booming. And it would be all profit, all God-given resource right into your pocket. Your natural gas, your coal, all these things that they tried to say we can't sell, but the Biden regime has been selling it at record amounts to China, that's been buying it in record amounts. And don't nobody say nothing to them again. Like, oh, you better watch your carbon footprint over there, Xi. Yeah, no, none of that. Don't make me pull your card and check your carbon footprint score. Like, they don't even mention that to them. But they'll push that agenda anywhere else, anywhere anyone's weak, and get pushed over and take it. All right, check this out. All of a sudden, on the heels of all this talk, this makes you wonder how much more is out there. They're talking about uranium mining in Texas and beyond, in all these places. And they're showing a map saying, look, boom, the Alta Mesa, southern Texas, south central Texas, right here. In all these other little pockets going up through here, all kinds of uranium. Let me tell you something. Anybody out there listening from Texas, from down this area, I know you are uncommon in the El Paso area, but I mean, just look at this. It's all over. There's got to be some people out there that got property that got some of this in it. It's what I'm trying to tell you. It's time for you to get a piece of the pie. Know what you got. I mean, if you're sitting on a ton of uranium, I mean, if you got hundreds of acres, it gives you huge leverage to do whatever you want. Just saying. Use it yourself. But with uranium, it's not like coal or natural gas that you could utilize in your home. Uranium is something more or less that, yeah, you're gonna make your money selling it to them or sell it to somebody instead of using it yourself. People just ain't using uranium in their houses like that. But you know what it's used for? Nuclear energy. So a uranium boom, South Texas. All right, you know what that reminds me of? I have to bring up the quake map real quick. And this brings me to my next story. We have mystery booms happening in Idaho. Of course, I've got no quakes here. Right up in here, shout out to D. White, all my cats up in this region. If you guys experience any kind of booms, you let me know, dabu7@yahoo.com. We'll get it out there. Apparently, these people are being threatened, being told to shut their mouths. It'd be in their best interest if they just keep quiet. People have put up videos, and I'm going to play the video here in a bit. A guy has a cop friend that paid him a visit and said, yo, you're going to want to take that down. Because they've got a thing where they call, like, deflect. It's something. It's like 3 words where they go in and they shut down these types of stories. And he said something's going on. There's booms going on. They don't want people reporting on. And it's happening. It's happening all over. Let me go in here and just find this real quick. I heard a boom myself here recently around us, but we think that it was from the strip mining and stuff that they're doing about 20 miles away. And but it was loud. But then we heard the equipment and everything else, and it was like, okay, we know what's going on in that instance. These other places, hold on, here's one. There's one right here. They're saying, what are they building? And what's going on?
It's been going for 30 seconds.
For the past couple of months, several people have been hearing mysterious sounds coming from the sky, and I've noticed a pattern. I'm going to show you guys 3 videos that may actually prove that these are underground constructions. But why? This first video is coming in from Banff in Canada. Pay very close attention.
gates of hell.
This next one's coming in from Colorado Springs. It's a very similar sound. Check this out.
Listen. Whoa! Stay inside, baby. What the fuck is that? Okay, but really, what the fuck? Please tell me you guys hear this. Wait for it.
So there is a pattern. The first one was in Banff, right? So check this out. So we have these mountains, follow them over down here to Colorado Springs. And then we have it also happening in Quebec and Montreal. So we have a perfect triangle. Someone is building something, but why? Check this out. This is in Montreal, Quebec.
Now, it can also be said that what you're hearing are the sounds of trumpets. And this is all speculation and people's opinions out here, but that's pretty crazy. That it's pretty much the exact same sound. Come on, we know there's dumbs. We know that they're digging underground. We know there's massive stuff, and this very well, in these areas, there could be big time stuff going on. But here's one I want to show you. Basically, the guy's been lightweight threatened to shut up about this stuff. But he posted. Now, he doesn't have any sounds of the booms in this, but he's just telling you his experience. This is out of Idaho, okay? Which falls in that same range that they were going in that line. But man, I've been hearing reports of this stuff for a long time, okay? It hasn't been really a lot here recently, but throughout the years, I've heard this. And it's never been explained. So this compilation shows that it's all here recent. Something's going on. Something is going on big time. I'm gonna run this. Well, actually, before I do, look, if you guys hear tacos, really, I was getting ready to say, if you hear it up there in Colorado, just anybody, keep these things in mind, man. If you're on the road, passing through an area, I don't care where it's at, you hear some of these crazy noises, man. Record it if you can. At least make note of where you're at. Okay? Yeah, it's well, some they compare that to the trumpet, say that it sounds like the sound of like a biblical trumpet that is being played. And people are like, hold on, what do you mean? It's like, well, if you've ever heard the shofar or that the horn that they blow, it doesn't sound, it's not like all perfect and, sounding pleasing all the time. It's got like it's just like that. It's like a high pitched warning sound. And they say that it sounds similar to that. Shofars, yeah. That's exactly what it sounds like. Which is and the fact that you're hearing it, all over the place. And they call it booms. You call it booms. Call it whatever. Like I said, everybody's got their own opinion. But a boom goes boom. That's why he called it boom. There's like an explosion type of an effect to it, if you ask me. If you're going to call it a boom, it's got to go boom. Okay? Those were more like... sounded more like a metal on metal type of thing. Yeah. Like bad breaks, like... like... you know, I don't know. Here, I'm gonna play this clip of this dude. Let him talk and give some comments on it.
We are not supposed to talk about the booms.
Evidently, there's a lot more booms going around than I first realized. I thought it was just here local to Rigby, Idaho, but it's not. Shortly after posting my video about the booms, I have a law enforcement friend. I'm not gonna say if it's state level or county level, but he came over to my house and said, hey, Aaron, it'd be a good idea to pull the video you posted about the booms and not talk about it anymore. He didn't tell me if he knew what there were or what they were doing it for, but he says as an agency, they've been told to deny, deflect, and diffuse.
That means there's something huge going on, if you ask me, right there. If an agency has been given orders to shut something down, there's something going on. They're covering it. Come on now.
So they don't want it to be talked about. No, I'm not crazy into conspiracy theories, but my officer friend did tell me about a local amateur seismologist that contacted the news and gave him a story about he set up several different seismology detectors around the area, and he was going to run a story on it. And shortly thereafter, before they could actually run the story, he had a heart attack and he's gone. So that got me thinking that there's something going on with these booms that we're not supposed to know about. So if I stop making videos, guys, you'll know why.
A seismologist is going to come in there and put up seismic scanners. And right before he goes to do it, he drops dead of a heart attack. His buddy he knows in law enforcement tells him to take down the video. That they've all been given orders to, you heard what he says, to deflect and something else, whatever. That tells me just full-blown orders given to cover something up. You don't make these moves for nothing. Something's going on. I might get lost. Some people gonna get lost in arguing over what it sounds like. Like, it's petty. Get over whether it sounds like train brakes or it sounds like metal hitting or it sounds like whatever. Well, everybody's got their opinion. To get butthurt over to hung up on that is pretty stupid. We need to be figuring out where it's coming from. I compared this to the drone thing. The drones and the UAPs that I was telling Hoodie Ross earlier. And if you're in one of these areas, maybe someone should try this. Try to record it and drive toward it. I think the drones are going to be easier. You're going to be easier to track back to where they came from and all this. And I'll get to that later on here toward the end of the stream. But in this instance, if it's a repetitive thing, I'd be moving around. I'd be hopping in the car, rolling down the windows, and I'd be driving, seeing if it's getting louder in any direction. Talking to other people. I mean, if you do this enough, you're going to get closer to you or further away. One of the two. You're going to realize something, that you're getting closer or further from it. You see, I just, if people we get active and get out there and try to chase these things down, maybe we can get some answers. So that's my hope. I'm hoping putting the word out, people realize that, I don't know, maybe you've already heard something like this and you just ignored it. Maybe you didn't think much about it. Hey, something going on. it takes me back to the dumps. It does in underground facilities. And the reason it always goes back there is because, well, it's not nothing ever like right there in the sky. It's coming from something ground based. And normally it's coming from a place no one can see or figure out. And oftentimes when that happens, it's underground construction. Now, we've experienced that as well. And it's a messed up feeling when, like, you feel things that you associate with being underneath your feet happening. It's, I don't know, a lot of questions out there. You know, there's no telling what they're doing anywhere at any given time. Like I said the other day, we walked out here and we heard an explosion that, like, would have rattled things on a table or something. Like, it was massive. Gave off like seismic tremors. And I've never heard one that loud. It was a single type of event. But I know, just from knowing the area, that guys about 20 miles north on a ridge are strip mining. So then I heard, a little bit, you could just listen real good. You could hear a little bit of the equipment. So at least I can figure that out. You know, when you're hearing all this stuff and you can't tell where it's coming from, it starts to bug a lot of people out. Again, if you guys got any information, can crack the case on any of this, hey, let me know. All it's got to link back to is like this one area, man. One area, one base, one road to a gate that's locked. One property. That's it. And then we can dive in. Who owns it? And then boom, just go from there. Dive in. So hey, yeah, that was some pretty crazy stuff, man. This is coming from all over. No, make a capper. No, I'm not sure, Jay. I've seen a lot. Where I live, where we live here in Kentucky, we're on top of the deepest cave system on the planet. Known cave system on the planet, which is pretty crazy. So they can be doing anything beneath us as far as I'm concerned right now. All right, I'm going to keep it pushing. And these things, everything I line up in here, I consider to be important. I feel like a trade war has just begun. But I feel like it's in motion. This is it. Call it the warning shot. As it says right here in the title. China, before Trump is even in there, they have banned exports of gallium, germanium, and other metals in a tit-for-tat war, basically. Tit-for-tat, they're calling it a part of the chip war, but this goes beyond the chips now. When you start zeroing in on precious metals and certain elements out there, China has a dominant position here, man. And it's really scary. Look at this chart. This is visualizing the global rare earth elements and metals over the past 30 years in just who has the most. Look at China. Their dominance is insane. And you couple with it the fact that they just found the world's largest ever gold supply. I mean, that's the most hard to fathom and wrap your head around. Largest ever. There's been a lot of big gold finds in different places. I'm going to tell you, the ancients pulled more out of Africa than what is ever going to be known. But modern day, you see it right here. I mean, what they just found in gold alone helps them substantially. They really don't have to buy any more gold. They could just need to put money into to mining all that out and keeping every bit of it. I mean, it's huge for them. Look at this. Their dominance in all types of... China is accounted for over 2/3 of global rare earth metal production in 2023, with an annual growth rate of 9.9% since 2013. It's just massive. Like, we're barely on the chart right there. We come in behind them, and then behind us is Australia, and then, like, really no one else comes close. To have this kind of dominance in this sector is just crazy. How can you go to war with someone like this without it affecting you? It's like shooting yourself in the foot, right? In a way. I mean, the way it's all set up, like, you need to prepare for this. We need to be prepared for this. We need to start, doing our own mining and controlling it. It's not just because they're finding it all in China, but they're processing it all there. That's the key thing. Almost all of it around the world is all sent to processing facilities that are in China. And it's like, we can build those. We sure can. And we should do that. And take this away from them. Or if a big war breaks out, go without. You'll go without. That's where they're taking this, you ask me. All right. Let's look and see here in the U.S. real quick. What is the most expensive and most affordable cities? If you're looking to move or relocate right now, I just want to point out some of these facts here. You don't want to find yourself in a place that you can't afford. Definitely do your research before you hit the road. But San Jose in California, topping the list, surprisingly. It beats New York. It comes in second, and then Boston, San Francisco, San Diego, and then there's Los Angeles, Seattle, DC, Miami, and Portland. Those places you're going to spend the most money. And if you want to find a place that's affordable, Indianapolis is at the top of the list. And Jay from the Ville, or Louisville, right there, that's second on the list out of the whole country, followed by Memphis, Tennessee, then Albuquerque, Oklahoma City, Rochester, El Paso in Texas, Dayton in Ohio, Cleveland in Ohio, and then Detroit. Now, you're going to have to do other things, look into other things, jobs, crime, health care, the laws, and all these different places, because they're all different, all the different states. But that's the rundown on the prices. Let's shift it up and go into the financials. So do I, Kathy. Roger Ver. If you don't know who this guy is, they call him Bitcoin Jesus. I'm bringing it up because Bitcoin's about to crack. It's right around 100,000. My prediction for this cycle has been that if it cracks through the 100, it's probably going to go through a little parabolic phase to like 120 or something crazy before it pulls back. This could be it, though, if it doesn't break through. If it tries several times, 2 or 3 times, and it can't break through, it's coming down. But second, third attempt, it could very easily break through. And Bitcoin's going to go bananas. And that's a whole separate thing. I've told you before, NSA created it. They're tracking everything, and they're just trying to get everybody warmed up to using digital currency. It's all it is. Because it can all be tracked and traced. Whether they pitch it to you that it's private or not, NSA can track every dang bit of it. And, where do you think all the technology came from? Them, as I said. And they're on top of all of it. They're light years ahead of everyone in every aspect. Some of the original guys have been like attacked in different ways. Roger Ver, he never claimed to be Satoshi or anything like that, but he was he created Bitcoin Cash and owned, I do believe he was in possession of Bitcoin.com, which was a huge site. And since there was no official owner of Bitcoin, no one could step up and try to deny him that. So he's collected all the money, all the people everywhere around the world that goes to Bitcoin.com. He would be profiting from all that. Well, he profited huge, like 2 cycles ago in crypto. He cashed out for like $400 and some million. And he exited. He did the same thing that Kim.com and others also have done. Cashed out and dipped out of the country. I could have swore, I'm not sure if he did or not, but I could have swore at one point that's what Jeff Berwick had said that he did. That's why he's down living in Mexico. But I don't know. All these guys, everybody tries to play it like they've got it figured out until all of a sudden you find out that they're wanted by the U.S. government. And you're like, uh-oh, what? Why? Everybody's like, what? Then everybody starts panicking. And, well, he left with all this money and went to a different country, and there's supposed to be an exit tax that you pay or don't have to pay and all this stuff. And they're trying to say that he owes all this money to the government, which is what they're going to do to everyone. I try to tell everyone this all the time. What they're basically going to do is they're going to say every single thing you do with crypto is taxed. You send it to somebody. You buy a cheeseburger. You receive it from someone. It doesn't matter. Every transaction is taxed, which is garbage if it's money. Like if I send you money on PayPal or to send you money, to send you money on Cash App or something, like I'm sending you the money, you're getting it. Bitcoin, and like it never changes value. You know what I'm saying? It's stable in that regard. And it's one of the things about Bitcoin. I mean, it runs up and it goes down. Everyone's loving it right now because they're in a bull market. You're in a bull market, the highest ever. Everyone's hoorah, hoorah. Let me tell you, this doesn't last forever. These windows are short. Just go back and look at any single chart. The bull run peaks are short-lived. Just go back and do it. Do your little bit of homework right there. That's your homework for tonight if you're thinking about getting into this stuff. But know that everything is taxed. That's the trap. Like if somebody sends me money, it's not taxed. You send me money on PayPal, friends and family, it's not taxed. You send me Bitcoin, it's taxed. It's a taxable event. Did you know that? Any of you know that? Realize that? Anyone out there that's accepting Bitcoin, you've sent it to them or this and that, it's a trap. Unless you're wise to it. Average Joe's not. They just get it and they send it, they do this with that, spin it, and they don't think twice about it. And I'm telling you, that's the trap. They're going to come back. It's going to come back to haunt people. I know I've heard of cats out there, man, that had made a ton of money and like spent it and never did anything to report it and all this other stuff. I put the warning out there all the time, and I think it scared them away from me, honestly, because they didn't want to hear it. But oh well, I have to give you the warning. I have to be a friend. I have to be honest. I have to watch out for you, even though you don't want to watch out for yourself. You want to go blind. But I try to say it all the time. It's trappy, but if you're prepared to get into the game and you know the rules of the game, good luck. There is money to be made. Only in a bull market in America. They're not going to let you short. You used to have to get a VPN or some foreign account to have to do that. And that's where a lot of big money's at. It's when the whole thing starts coming down, they short everything. They just short Bitcoin, jump over and short this. They know everything's coming down. They said they're setting shorts on everything. And they make a ton of money. They ride the shorts all the way down. But you as Americans, you're not allowed to do that. Just like you as Americans are not allowed to go over to this brand new site everyone's going to, Poly Market or whatever it is, and betting on, on if they're going to pardon Fauci next, or they're betting on all these crazy things, like if Trump was going to win the presidency and all that. But Americans can't do it. You know, it's and that's where the big money's at. I've seen it throughout the years. All the big money to be made is when they try to keep it away from the Americans. Like I said, shorting and all that. For most people, if you want to get into the stock game or anything like that, you gotta get a license, so to speak. It's a $20,000 entry to get in and move big money in these bigger stocks. We've looked into it, and it's like crazy. It's like who's got that kind of money just to get into the game and it's nuts. You can trade stocks as a normal person, normal stocks, but there's different levels of stuff out there. Just to be able to get into certain categories, to touch certain things, we found out. And it was like, it's ridiculously rigged. I also want to point out that Donald Trump has appointed Jared Kushner's dad to the ambassador of France, okay? If you missed that. His last time in, he pardoned him because he got busted for a bunch of stuff. Kushner's dad did, and it was facing all this trouble. And Trump pardoned on it. Now, he's got a position working for him. I expect this market to keep on charging until it just doesn't. It's usually just out of nowhere. They call it FUD. It's organized lies or deception, or it's well planned news that is dropped to bring the whole market down. And usually it's tied into the government, or it's tied into something like that, or it's tied into something big that brings it down first. And then, they've got a dozen stories behind it for the weeks to come to just keep bringing it down. That's how it works. You're not seeing none of that yet, so. Right now, a lot of people's focused on Trump and this tariff stuff, and rightfully so. Because if he doesn't watch it, I'm telling you, someone's gonna call us bluff, so to speak, on it, or like China's already doing, starting a tit for tat, the trade war. I mean, do you really want to do that? It's obviously us, what they call the West, against Russia, China, Iran, and this whole other block they call BRICS. Pretty much. I mean, this is going to get interesting. 100% tariffs on any nation. That's what Trump is threatening. Anyone that wants to step up and threaten the dollar, 100% tariffs. A lot of people saying they think that this is going to be sketchy. Because if these people he threatens dump their dollars right then, and they do it all together, he could do nothing to stop them. He could do nothing to stop them, and it would do nothing but blow it all back in our face. Now, I told you, Trump, as much as he has a lot of good business skills as a businessman, you can only do so much when you're inheriting a crisis, so to speak. So look at this. The looming debt crisis. We're following a path that every other empire has followed that has crumbled. So I figured I would point out these key checkpoints and let everybody know, look, we passed that one, this is where we sit, and this is what's about to happen. Per history, every single empire that has ever came and went, these are the stages that they go through, right? Whether it's Rome, Spain, France, Britain, the Soviet Union, it doesn't matter. Excessive debt has played a critical role in their decline. So, typically, the patterns in these collapsing empires go like this. Stage 1, empire achieves success and becomes overconfident. 2, overconfidence leads to extravagant spending on luxuries and wars. 3, empires finance this lavish spending by going into debt. 4. The debt grows to an unsustainable level and creates a crushing burden. 5. The empires finance the debt through taxation and currency debasement, which you've seen. Number 6. The populace bears the brunt of the debt repayment as the empire raises taxes and debases currency, and this is where inflation will kill you, right here, to the maximum extent until it causes internal instability. Okay? Number 7, the empire cannot finance their military anymore because of their debt burden. This is usually the tipping point. So that's number 7. Okay? Number 8, underfunded militaries plus internal instability make empires vulnerable to foreign invasion, domestic revolution, civil war, and other existential dangers. Number 9, the empire collapses. As it says here, we are somewhere between stage 6 and 7, where we are bearing the brunt, the populace, of all this. The currency is massively debased, and you know it. It's worth like 0.5% of what it originally was. It is already causing internal instability. So we're already, check 6 off. The next step is that we cannot finance our military advancements in whatever needs to be done. And we've got horrific scenarios there. Our F-35s are like junk. I could go on and on and on in this sector. Like, we're right there. And it says this is usually the tipping point. So, underfunded militaries getting drug into a big event. If we get drug into a big war out of nowhere, you know, like Trump's going to start one on day 1 with a national emergency and start a war, literally, labeling the cartels terrorists and shooting at them with Apaches, helicopters, everything you think of. A war begins. Our country will be in a full-blown war right here. That's what's about to happen. It's not a conspiracy. It's their plan. Just go look into it. Just go look at it. For people that can't swallow it. It's what's about to happen. Machine gunning at the freaking border. You think it's going to stay at the border? No. Have any of them stayed at the border? Come on. They're crisscrossing it day and night. Millions of them are in here. And do you think they're going to go easy? Oh, I'm going to talk more about that here in a bit. I don't think so. I think it's going to be big time. Big time action is getting ready to go down. All right, I'm going to keep it pushing. We've got something all parents out there should be aware of here. We have a mother filing a class action lawsuit against Mattel because their packaging for Wicked, which I guess is this new twisted version of Wizard of Oz, I'm guessing. Like, and you know, Wizard of Oz, like old schools. Anyhow, the packaging on it for this Wicked children's doll sends kids to a hardcore, full-on pornographic website. Instead of directing the young people to wickedmovie.com, it just says Wicked, and on the package it says wicked.com, which right there, that they should be sued inside and out for this, because there's no other way around it. That was purposely done right there, the trickery of that, to have it all set up just like that, to say it all over the place, and to have it on the package, wicked.com, there for the kids to just, so the kids that went to the website got blasted with full-on porn, full-on action. Just let your imagination run wild. This is what they saw. Kids. So, and this is kids anywhere. All these kids that are getting this doll or buying this and looking at the package and are seeing Wicked, it's saying wicked.com, they're typing it in. Every single one, they're typing it in. As soon as they hit enter, boom. This is how the devil works, man. So, got to pay attention, man. I hope this mom wins. I hope it's justice. And yeah, man. This is just ridiculous. These people should be sued so hard. Like every single parent that can prove they got a receipt that they bought this for their kid should get a piece of the pie. They should be able to like just take them to the cleaners with that. In my opinion. All right, this brings me to one of the bigger stories here of the night. As you can see, the assassination of the United Health Care CEO. So this is the connections here are, I'm telling you what, is this a dim knockoff job? Well, we're going to continue to dig and dig and dig, and I guarantee you we're going to find some juicy stuff. But what we got here, already are these connections flying all over the place to this assassination that took place today in Midtown Manhattan. I'm not going to share the footage. It's graphic. You don't have to go far to find it. Just go over to X or anywhere. I mean, it's there. It's there. And this assassin, professional hitman, rolls up right behind the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson. Shoots him from behind. He has a silencer on a pistol. Shoots him. He goes down, runs up, empties the clip in him, and takes off around the corner, hops on a bike, and heads out of there. I noticed a weird flow of information when this broke loose. Also, a ton of disinformation. When I see that, throughout all my years of doing this, it oftentimes leads back to a large operation where when they're covering it like that. That wasn't just anybody and any old person that did a hit job on this. This means that like this was like an establishment job. Okay? So the video footage shows a man in a gray backpack pulling out a pistol with a silencer on it before opening fire, putting multiple shots into Thompson, who stumbles to the ground, and then they say that the weapon jammed at one point, prompting the gunman to fix it so he could keep firing. And then he fled down an alley and was last seen by witnesses in Central Park. And we're going to go over some of the stuff here. But there was names of the shooter and false information flowing so quickly that I was like, hold on. Like, what's going on here? And then another dude jumped out there and was like, right, he fled on an e-bike. He had this whole huge article going of he tracks all the e-bikes and only one e-bike went north out of there. And he had the number to it and it went here and there. And it was all misdirection because the dude never left on the e-bike. He was seen fleeing on a bike, not an e-bike. So as soon as that was like obvious, I guess the dude in the e-bike story like shut his mouth. I don't know. But it had all these people saying all this false stuff, You can see him right there on the bike. He was on a bike. A $10,000 reward up from Crime Stoppers on this, on what they're saying, the homicide, assassination, plain as day. At 6:40 a.m. in front of the Hilton Hotel located at 1335 Avenue of the Americas in the confines of the 18th Precinct in Manhattan. The perpetrator discharged a firearm, striking the 50-year-old male victim in the chest and causing his demise. Well, he did more than that. He shot him from behind clearly, and he goes stumbling. And might have came out his chest, but he shot him from behind clearly, and then shot him more times. I've been all through this area. It's crazy how many times when I zoom in here, I get like the flashbacks of going here, running this specific area, these blocks between 6th and all the way up here to the pier, and then all the way down to where the Twin Towers sat, and all of it, all the way around. That whole area is interesting. And it's been involved in so many different events and so many things, in staged events, ritual events, all of it. Manhattan, Gotham. Okay, so, all right, so here we go. Number 1, the gunman right here opens fire on Brian Thompson outside the Hilton Hotel in Midtown. Okay, so this is where it took place. And then he flees up 6th Avenue, leaving the guy he shot on the ground. So he goes up the road this way. He then cuts down Ziegfeld alleyway before jumping on a bike that he had stationed in this region right in here. Then it took the bike down around 7th Avenue. And then they saw him fleeing into Central Park. And then, I mean, once you get into Central Park, a whole manhunt. You can see the size of the square, the red square there on Manhattan. Central Park is huge, absolutely massive. The dude dipped into there, and who knows? Probably jumped into a sewer and was gone. So they've put out updated close-up shots. This is the guy right here that was fatally shot. I know a lot of people are thinking, like, what's the connection? Like, what's... All right, so this is it. First off, he's the CEO of United Healthcare. So he's got a lot of connections being a CEO of such a large healthcare company, especially, and I would say even government connections. So what I've heard thus far is that, is it Palo Alto? Is that the name? I forget the name exactly. There's a company that is tied in right now to an investigation, if you don't know, that Nancy Pelosi is tied into. Okay, Nancy Pelosi and others. And there is an ongoing investigation by the feds into United Healthcare and all this stuff right now. This big, huge, like, under-the-table investigation that's been ongoing. And to find out that it has to do with the company that she has ties to is mighty suspect. Then you see things like this. What was Governor Tim Walz doing with the murdered Brian Thompson? There he is right here. This shows you the rubbing elbows, the connections, who knows who. Yeah, so this is, it's got kind of a, I'm not saying that this is going to go down the pizza rabbit hole, but it's got a Seth Rich feel to it. You know, Seth Rich gunned down, cold blood, same way, basically, taken out because of what he knew. and what he could have potentially let out the bag. We know that much at this point. So, now the questions are swirling. What did Brian Thompson know? And there's an ongoing investigation into all this. I guarantee you, as the streams go by here in the coming days and weeks, more information is going to come to light on this whole thing. And when it does, we'll be tearing into it right here. So yeah, again, as I shut this one down, if you want to see the footage of the shooting, it's over on X. It's, again, not hard to find. All right. I pay a lot of attention to what I call like little sigils or ominous little signs that are ticker taped out there, that once an event happens, you go back and you look and you're like, oh, listen to what they said. Like, if you'd have just paid attention at the time, you would have caught it then. And I'm trying to pick up on what's about to happen before it's too late. This next huge event. I'm telling you, all the writing on the wall is saying for sure January 20th, 21st, that window. And I need to go check the stars on this because of what they do on certain events around as above, so below. I've told you this before. If we see a certain high satanic window open that just falls in line somewhere, for instance, we got to point it out. And we got to be like, okay, there's a high probability of something happening, right here in this window. For instance, like when Kobe Bryant and his daughter died that same day, called for a sacrifice of a girl her age, and all of it in a high satanic window, and it fell right into it. If you would have known all this stuff beforehand, just listen to what this dude says.
But everything in the world is going to change on January 20th. Because the president of the... But everything in the world is going to change on January 20th. Because the president of the United States is going to use every single legal, diplomatic, and financial tool to halt the entry of all illegal aliens into this country. There will be no benefits, there will be no entry, there will be no asylum, there will be no admission. You may be prosecuted, you will certainly be arrested, and you will absolutely be deported. The entire world, Mexico, Northern Triangle, Central America, South America, Africa, Asia, the Middle East, will get this message. There is no unlawful route to enter the United States of America. Every presidential authority, including his absolute authority under Article 2 to defend the territorial sovereignty of the United States, will be used. From the Department of Defense to the Department of Justice to Homeland Security and every single other lawful authority at his disposal. It will be the end of the evasion. It will be the beginning of the liberation.
It's war. Beginning of a war. That they told you. I'm telling you, our whole country's about to get flipped upside down. He said it. I pick up on it. The very first words.
But everything in the world is going to change on January 20th.
Okay. So, well, what do we have here? Old charlatan Dr. Peter Hotez. He is fear-mongering that multiple viruses will be unleashed on America the day after Trump takes office. Really? As soon as they get the clock going, something's gonna hit, huh? Yeah. I'm gonna play 2 clips here of this guy making these statements here. We'll play this one here first, and then there's another one I just want you to get a feel for what this guy's saying.
Here's the reason why we need to care about this stuff, Nicole, is that we have some big picture stuff coming down the pike starting on January 21st. Mr. Bloomberg mentioned H5N1. That I'm really worried about. It's all over wild birds on the western part of the United States and going up in the north. It's getting into the poultry. We're seeing sporadic human cases, no human-to-human transmission yet, but that could happen. It's in the cattle, it's in the milk, and that's just the beginning. We have another major coronavirus likely brewing in Asia. We've had SARS in 2002,
Oh, really?
SARS-2, COVID-19 in 2019. And we know these viruses are jumping from bats to people thousands of times a year. But there's still more. We know that we have a big problem with mosquito-transmitted viruses all along the Gulf Coast, where I am here in Texas. So we're expecting
we're Bill Gates, let him loose.
Possibly Zika virus coming back, or a Puche virus, maybe even yellow fever. And there's more. Then we have all this sharp rise in vaccine preventable diseases going up because of, in part, the anti-vaccine activism that's so prominent right now. We have a 5-fold rise in pertussis cases, whooping cough over the last year, 15 measles outbreaks this year. We've got polio that's been in the wastewater in New York State. All that's going to come crashing down on January 21st on the Trump administration. We need a really, really good team to be able to handle this.
Whoa, everything in the kitchen sink is coming on the 21st. Do you hear this? But is there, even though it seems so over the top, is there something to it? So these are that's back-to-back warnings right there, I've told you, that are telegraphing something happening within the first 24 hours of Trump's presidency. Y'all want to start taking bets? Something's about to happen. But to run some polls or something. But
well, could the next pandemic make the height of the COVID-19 outbreak look mild? That's what some experts are predicting for what's being called Disease X.
So this is it, okay? Here's the same dude about to talk. And I've got to preface it with this. In the first video, he just dropped everything under the sun. Right? For a reason. Every time this mystery, whatever this next one's going to be, they call it Disease X. This is how it ends up getting dropped out there. And he just basically, in the last one, he never said Disease X one time, but he named everything under the sun. She just said it, though. And that is what it's going to be. That this is the next wave. Disease X is supposed to represent the next event without naming what it's going to be. You see? Man, oh man.
Very worried that we just don't, we as a nation, we haven't made that commitment to really fully protect the American people.
We caught up with internationally recognized Dean of the National School of Tropical Medicine at Baylor and co-director of the Texas Children's Hospital Center for Vaccine Development, Dr. Peter Hotez, who's traveling to get his take on the topic.
We have a likelihood that new pandemic threats, that people call them Disease X, are going to be rising on a regular basis.
And Dr. Hotez says Disease X, the next pandemic, could hit hard whenever it arrives. Why do you think some experts are predicting the next pandemic will make COVID-19 look like a walk in the park?
I've written about this as well. I wrote for the Houston Chronicle a couple of months back that COVID-19 is just the warm-up act. The next pandemic may not be as severe, but it could be much more severe.
After years of pandemics popping up, including SARS and H1N1 early in the 2000s.
Ebola in 2014, we had Zika in 2016, and now we've got COVID-19.
Dr. Hotez says that's why the U.S. Office of Pandemic Preparedness was created, but he believes more should be done.
Having the funds available to make countermeasures for new diagnostics, new vaccines, and at the same time, being able to support the virologists, the scientists who actually study these pathogens,
Why are we seeing so many pandemics?
It's one of the most common questions I'm asked. It's a confluence of 21st century forces. A big one is climate change, which is...
Oh my gosh. I can't tolerate it anymore. You see the garbage that they're pushing. So you know, that's what he's talking. It's a big window. It's a huge window. It's you know, he starts riding and rifling off all these executive orders, man, and it's just, I don't know. Inauguration is going to be pretty crazy. If you guys don't know, let me show you here real quick. This is what it looks like. You are looking down at an entry gate to get into the mall.
All right, looks like we're live again. Can you believe that? As soon as I was talking about it, about them cutting my stream, it cut. Right over an hour, right over 5,000 people. That's usually when they try to hammer me.
Yeah, so that's me talking. I just wanted to show for anyone that wondered what the environment's like. You'd never seen it with the inauguration coming up. This is one gate. I'm up on a wall up above it looking down. And there's BLM all down and through here. There's a bunch of bikers. There's a bunch of action. I perched up in a good spot and was just catching all kinds of action. Running around. Met some cool people, some good people. And then eventually ended up getting into some major action with them spraying and throwing their bombs and stuff getting lit on fire and bricked and all that, which I showed, I think, a clip of in the last stream. But yeah, that's what one of the entry gates look like. You gotta stand in line, wait to get checked, and then once you're in, you're in. A lot of people get there super early, try to avoid sitting there waiting in a line, but this is on one side of the mall, and there's like 2 or 3 entry points all the way around the mall. So there'd be like one on the other side and like one on the south side. A lot of people. Just saying. It's gonna be something. I think it's gonna be packed up this time around, man. I don't know. I Am Legend 2 trailer out now. T-Rex says, are you serious? Is this serious or joking? That's pretty crazy. So, as you've seen on the screen here, they're talking about making DeSantis the new Secretary of Defense. I guess all this flack, all this talk about this other guy, I don't know. Out of nowhere, this is what they're saying. Don't be surprised the next day if the headlines are that that's it. DeSantis in his stilts. Oh, and out of Florida, this is a huge one. The guy that was selected to be their DEA pick, no, he's withdrawing because of all the backlash. So it makes a difference when people say something and do something. It just does. People can run their mouth by going out protesting, doing this, that doesn't do nothing. Like, to a degree, but to a degree it does. And like people opening their mouth and voicing their opinion definitely does. Yeah. This is proof of it. When they jump on them, everybody just starts unloading. Yep, They can't take it. And they're like, nope, we don't want nothing of it. We're dipping out of the spotlight back into the shadows. Because before this, really, nobody knew who the dude was. But like, as soon as they pulled him up on the stage, put the spotlight on him, all of a sudden it was like, oh, what? This dude's a tyrant. He arrested a pastor during lockdowns, supports the Dems, all this other stuff. So they shredded him. And, yeah. It's almost like Trump's floating some of these people out there. And if they get shredded, he's making them, like, pull back. And then they're throwing another one up there that the people will accept. And so, getting word that what we got here? Iron Man. God bless. Much love to Charlotte. Thank you for the coffee. Much love. God bless. Hope all is good. I do appreciate the support. Getting word now that Obama and others really didn't want Kamala running. We've heard some rumblings of this before. How could things end up this way? Well, Pelosi and Obama both said that Pelosi ended up saying that she wanted to do a thing where they picked someone else, not just take her. And apparently Biden was not, he's just not there, period. So Obama, when this whole thing went down, was like, look, she's not the pick. But it come down to there was $90 million that had her name on it for the party to use, and they lost it if they ran anybody else. I said this a long time ago. And so they were forced. They were like, we're not leaving 90 mil, you know. It was a big influence on everything. So they grabbed the bag and they went with her and they did everything that they could. They did everything that they could. You guys witnessed it. And brought every star out of the closet to shill for her. Even J-Lo crying. It didn't work. It did not work. It fell apart. And because it fell apart so bad, Obama's catching a lot of flack. George Clooney pissed at the Obamas. A lot of people feeling like they were used and all this stuff. It's hilarious though. Watch them all pointing the finger, being all butthurt. What's not funny is these pardons. Now I told you with the pardon last time. It was the big news. Biden pardoning Hunter. And I told you, I played the clip from the lawyer that said that it's article or pleading the fifth goes out the window when you get pardoned, meaning that the judge can force someone like Hunter to have to testify. Can't plead the fifth. He would have to testify and give details, but he wouldn't get in any trouble for anything. You see, so they could force the hand. And they're saying that's where Biden and them just screwed up big time. Another thing, it's like he pardoned them for all this, the business stuff, which are federal crimes. But child trafficking and rape are state crimes, partner. And he better get picked up on them and they better smoke them on them. If all these cats walk after all this, I tell you what, man. I tell you all the time, it's a left-right paradigm. But looky here. All right, first off, there was a blanket pardon on Hunter. Bigger than, like, it's never been seen before like it. And it's like, okay. with all the dirt we've seen this dude do, smoking crack with horse and all this other crazy stuff, and his back tattoo, the tattoo that Hunter Biden has on his back, look it up, more homework, and look up what it's connected to and everything else, it's over. Like, the dude's branded with a trafficking network in the whole thing. He wears the symbolism of it. It's tattooed on his skin. So, that brings me to these. Fauci, Schiff, and Liz Cheney may receive preemptive pardons. Okay? And it's like, hold on. Y'all are really messing up now. Because that implies that you're guilty. Every one of them. Of something that they want to keep them out of trouble for. Come on. So this right here implies guilt. Starved, man. Thank you. Hey, thank you for the comments and the super chats. Dubbed up on there. Am I seeing doubles, man? It's got two of them at the top. Thank you for that. Much love. Man, this pisses me off. Jesuit Fauci. Man, oh man. So, I mean, what are you gonna do? And Adam Schiff was already gonna get fried. Like, man, like what happens if, like, you find out that, like, you can prove in a court of law these people are connected to, like, a murder? Let's just say. Because they caught preemptive pardons, does that cover them? You just turn a cheek and look the other way? Like, I don't think so. Like, preemptive pardon for what? They can't be this across the board for everything. Because, dude, this is criminal. And boy, oh boy, if he goes down this path, he could just end up doing this all the way till January 19th or 20th, up to the moment Trump is sworn in. He could be pardoning people. Preemptive pardons, just like this. I mean, he could give it to everybody on the team over there, which would be unprecedented. Because they're all scared Trump is going to seek retribution. Well, that's garbage, man. They're not getting away with some of the stuff. Some of these dudes have got to get, I mean, that's as guilty as can be right there. All right, what about this? What about them over and over talking about he's not going to do this, and he does it? This is still our sitting president, by golly. You know, get this man out of office. There's still time. Like, get him out of there. Like, doesn't matter. Like, he's garbage. Looks more and more like a dude in a mask all the time.
I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I'd abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
I can't emphasize enough from knowing him how hard that second half must have been for him to say. I mean, Joe Biden is a person who answers his phone every time any of his grandchildren call, anytime, doesn't matter what's going on. He does the things your grandparents do. When they pretend you drop money on the floor just so you have $20 in your pocket and they say, did you drop something? He's deeply in love with his wife. I mean, deeply. His family, with all the pain and anguish that surrounded it, is his heart. But Joe Biden's character as a public servant is what drove him to make clear that the law applies to everyone. His decision not to pardon his son is not an expression of restraint or removal in any way from what his son has gone through and is continuing to go through, but of principle. Because the justice system that convicted his only surviving son is the same justice system he's vowed to protect. And if that doesn't tell you who Joe Biden is, I don't really know what does.
Garbage. Tell you one thing, do another. Look at this clip of Bill Maher. I gotta play this, man. Like, I play this guy because I laugh at him. You know, he's dead serious. He's not like telling jokes. The way he is, he's supposed to be conservative, but acts like he's on the left. But then he flops back and forth and does this and that, and I don't get it. But this guy, man.
I'm shitting my pants.
It's hard to believe.
I mean, I may quit because
Thank you,
I don't
Jesse.
want to do another. I did Trump. I did all the Trump stuff before anybody. I called him a con man before anybody. He's a mafia boss. I was the one who said he wasn't going to concede the election. I've done it. I've seen this fucking.
Well, then how come he's so hostile to Jimmy Kimmel and not to you?
He's very hostile to me. Tweets about me every week.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Every week he accidentally watches my show and then low ratings loser.
Oh, well, yeah.
But, I mean, I'm bored with it. I mean.
So find a new thing to do and not do Trump. Do something else.
The show is the politics.
I know,
there's no other thing than, and he's going to dominate the news like he always does.
He's all butthurt, man. I mean, there was another clip where he was kind of getting into it with her. She was playing stupid, but I ain't playing that one. But it's like, man, I don't know. It's the way he is, man. I find it just kind of comical. Just like, watching Biden here. It's really not. It's our sitting president. It's embarrassing, but it's like, man, what can you do?
The Lobito corridor as an integral
OBS
part of a
disconnects,
broader strategy
reconnects.
to enhance connectivity in Africa. We also appreciate the fact that the implementation of the project will provide important opportunities for Africa's development in sectors such as agriculture, renewable energy, digital transformation, trade and logistics along the corridor. Tanzania is already undertaking internal consultations aiming.
He's out. I mean, he's out right there. Like he's KO'd right there. he's done. Right in the middle of the summit. It's embarrassing. No, man, he's I've never seen it. It's hard to believe that that's our sitting president, like active president. It's just almost, it leaves me speechless. Like it's. There's another clip. Where's it at? He's walking out, and they gotta hold his hand. It's insane, right? You know the classic, the two leaders stand up in front of everybody and they shake hands like it always happens. Like, Biden is so gone. He's like toast. He's just standing around, looking around. The guy's got his hand out, like, come on, man, like, shake my hand. Like, I mean, he guided him out there, pulled him up onto the thing. I mean, it is pathetic. It's an embarrassment. All right, so let's get into some other information here. Speaker Mike Johnson announcing no more aid to Ukraine. Brother Tooge in the house. That's a pretty big announcement because we've been saying, I wonder how much money they're going to send. You know, this whole time they're going to keep sending and sending and sending and sending. Well, money here at the front of the conversation, and they're saying they're going to wait and take the new commander-in-chief's direction. So that's the excuse stopping everything right now. So all the money should be stopped. I should not be reporting. But look what Biden's doing. He turns around, takes $100 million, and runs off to South Africa, where he's at right now, falling asleep at a table, giving them $100 billion in aid when we got people suffering still with no homes. It got hit by the hurricane. It's sick, man. Again, it's disgusting. It's frustrating, but at least they're stopping it right here, per se. I could wake up tomorrow, though, and see them sending 100 million more or something. But hopefully it's done. No more aid to Ukraine. That sends a signal. It does. It sends a signal that, you know, they're taking it serious, that they want to cut this thing off. End it. You know, last Trump administration, Ukraine died down because Obama fired it up. Trump got in there, and it died down. It just went away. As soon as Biden got in there, flared back up, and got this whole new level where it's at now. But it could swing back the other way, just like under the old Trump administration. Because from here, man, Russia keeps peddling around at this point. They're just going to strike Kiev. Let's get it over with. But looky here. He just said no more money is going to Ukraine. All right? The next headline says, now they say there's a massive surge of military equipment headed to Ukraine. All before Trump takes office. Oh, okay. So now you see, they're not going to send any money, cash money, but they're sending a massive surge of military equipment to Ukraine. So this isn't good. This is indicative of seeing one big, huge kind of last heave-ho push out of Ukraine to do something. Which it's going to get them lit up, probably. It's probably where the nuke's going to come from. Tactical nuke off one of these hypersonics. Come on. It's going to happen here at some point. Anytime now. Actually, surprised it hasn't already. It would catch some headlines. They drop a tactical nuke, but it won't be the nuke of old. It's going to be smaller, more tactical, and it's going to be different. It's going to hit different. And I already showed you what these hypersonic missiles look like. They look like liquid lightning teardrops. Like it's crazy. They're nuts. They come down so crazy looking in waves that just, it melts everything. It turns it to lava. And we have no way to stop it. Even our own military, everybody, every single person has said it. We can't stop it. Here on this world stage, tell me Russia's got a weapon nobody can stop. And look at this. They've also got a very unique Russian attack submarine in the South China Sea. So now, these are creeping around out in international waters. a 490 submarine, UFA 490. This was 90 miles off the coast of the Philippines. They saw it and they went out and they shadowed it. And they were like, what do you think you're doing? It had a right of innocent passage through the area it was going. But you get within 100 nautical miles of a coastline, raises eyebrows. But I don't know. It's a Kilo class. It's considered to be one of the quietest diesel submarines in the world. You can't. Not everybody can pick it up and track it, so it's really sneaky. They caught it creeping around, surfacing for some air. Telling you, the thing's creeping everywhere. All right, here's an update to the situation of a deal in Ukraine. Ukraine vowing to basically reject anything that's an alternative to NATO membership. So it's like they get into NATO or nothing. They get into NATO or nothing. See what kind of deal Trump brings to the table here. We all know he's going to come with something here. The money's getting cut off. They just made that move. Okay? The NATO chief is warning that if this peace deal is bad, it represents a dire threat to the U.S. and Europe. It's basically warning Trump that they're setting it up to where they can pin it on Trump. They're setting this thing up to where they can pin it on Trump if it goes bad. Mr. Gentile Messiah is going into all these situations saying peace, peace, peace. Man, and it brings me to that prophecy. And then comes sudden destruction. They're basically warning him that we face a dire threat from Iran, China, and North Korea now. Because Russia is sending hypersonic technology into North Korea, which is absolutely nuts. Something huge is going to happen, man. But, again, they're telling Trump here in the open, in front of the cameras, like, look, you better have a good peace deal or it's going to be bad. You can already tell. And this oligarch out of Russia warns that Moscow could fire one tactical nuclear weapon. Remember, this is a tactical one. Into Ukraine, and it would be over. One tactical nuke into the heart of one area in Kiev where a majority of all the thinking power and everything's at, all those key buildings, and it's done. And he uses the words tactical nuke. And you betcha it would be strapped on a hypersonic Mach 9 missile. So it's like, it's where it's at. Plus, Russia just started firing up all these drills right off the coast. Fired warning shots at a German military helicopter over the Baltic. And flexed up all these snap drills off the coast of Syria. Like right there. Like using these huge missiles right off their warships. And like they're just flexing. Because it's going down. Real war is going down. Like they're like firing warning shots with this. interesting. That loud ass sound reminded me of the sounds we were hearing earlier. So they're launching these out there just to say, hey, we got these for days. If you want some, this is what's coming next. So they have precision, sea-based missiles. Just flexing right there off the coast of Syria. Like, if you guys want to front, we're going to start hammering you. Right? Russia accusing Ukraine of... This is where it's all coming full circle, guys. They're accusing Ukraine of supporting these fighters in Syria that's fighting against the, basically, Assad regime. Right? So this is what's going down. If you're just now trying to figure out what's going on here with all these fighters, you've got this new group that they call the HTS fighters. They're connected to Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, and it's all backed by the West. That's all you need to really know. That's where they're getting all the funding and backing. And these rebels, as they're going to call them, are fighting against the Assad government and military. The elected, guy that's been there the whole time in power, Assad. They're fighting against him, okay? Who else is fighting against Assad? Israel. Okay? So you can see these foot soldiers on the ground are doing the bidding of Israel as well. Do you see? They sure are. The same outcome. To attack Assad, to oust them, is to take over the area. Okay? That is what is going on here. Who's backing Assad? Russia, Iran, China. This is a world war, man. And it's been ongoing. The fronts are just changing up. They always do. They wear out, the theater wears out, and they switch it up. And like it's happening right in front of your face. They flared Syria right back up, just like that. Right as Trump's getting ready to come into office and all this, and Ukraine may die down. And they even could still drop a nuke in there before they do it. It's definitely going to die down after that, to some extent. Or there's going to be an exchange of nukes. Moscow's going to get licked. Kremlin going to get wiped. Which I highly doubt. If that happens, if that happens, man, I would fear, because of their nuclear doctrine, they will launch nukes on hypersonics at every single major city, and they will be there, especially in Europe, within 20 minutes. You can't do that. You can't just wipe the Kremlin or Moscow off the map like that. Just like you can't wipe any major city and take out innocent life and all that. But hey, world's a stage. World War III's got to go down somehow and in some way. I'm convinced we're in it. There's troop movement from all kinds of countries going to these war fronts. That's the definition of world war. It's been ongoing for a long time. A lot of death. You check off all the boxes for world war. You sure do. We're there. It's just most of the world's waiting for the N-word, nuke, to drop somewhere. To officially say it's on. But I'm telling you, it's already there, in my opinion. So this is where we're at. The new proxy war front is shifting to Syria. A place that used to have the caliphate, remember? That went down in Iraq and took all of ISIS's equipment. That same staged garbage. So they're an arsenal. Rob, thank you. It is a total grift. Yeah. And thank you for the coffee. Thank you for the support, man. It's all a scam. They've been laundering money through Ukraine this whole time, flipping it to gold. And we know this. But Russia's chewed them up. Russia has chewed them up. And look at this. This is how you know the war's advanced. A U.S. A-10 Warthog going over eastern Syria. It shows how involved we are in all this. And it's dropping bombs on enemy targets. Softening it up. For who? The foot soldiers on the ground. Well, who's the foot soldiers on the ground? That's the same group I just showed you. So they're working right there hand in hand. And softening up positions before they go into them. That's what's happening. So American jets could damn well be responsible for flattening Damascus when this whole thing goes down. Israeli and American stuff. Taking out that biblical city. But watch after it passes, you're going to see the distance. It drops bombs on targets. Now, you can see it. You can see it out there. It dropped bombs and it shot off some flares, some anti-aircraft, anti-flare stuff, and then dipped out. But man, some of these war fronts, these boys are out there with RPGs and heat-seeking stuff, and if you come flying in that low, that close, you're getting shot at and potentially hit. I didn't see no one shooting at him that low, but that's our boys, U.S. Air Force A-10 over eastern Syria, and these are everyday people, just like you and me, living in their houses, in their apartments, and all that, witnessing this now, witnessing the war coming to them. I'm telling you, it's about to happen here. Trump initiates this on day one. Aries 51. I like the name. Much love. Thank you for the super chat. What do we got here? Just so you know where this is going. Iran is ready to send more troops to Syria. And look what it says. It could trigger a deeper Israeli entry. Well, of course. This is World War. And everyone's sleeping. Okay? This is it. Iran advancing more troops into Syria now, into another war front. Okay? This is it. Of course, you've got Russia and China backing them every step of the way. North Korean troops being sent out here. African troops. It's crazy, man. This is World War. And it's like, man, what side are we really on, man? Well, you already know. I'm sitting here live tonight reporting from the belly of the beast. USA. It's a damn shame. Lady Babylon, Mystery Babylon, that's what we are. That's where I'm at. I'm on a ship that's sinking. By design. You think that 9/11 and bringing down some stuff was bad. Imagine bringing down a whole country. You can't even jump ship. Ain't nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Everything's coming down. When the whole system comes down. Remember, they have not got their great reset yet. It's happening on Trump's watch. You watch. Turkey, if you don't know where they sit, they're going with the other side. They're flip-flopping. They're backstabbing their way, as the title says, because we have weapons there and all this other stuff. They were supposed to be our ally and all this and that, but no. They don't like Israel. Erdogan don't. He's been calling out the genocide and all the crap that they're doing. So, he's rolling with Russia and that side. And dude, this isn't good. This isn't good at all. We have got nuclear weaponry staged inside of Turkey right now because they were an ally, which is a very tricky situation. All right, let me show this real quick. I'm going to put this into play. This shows the eastern flank of Ukraine, and this shows just how much territory Russia has chewed up in a quick little video. You can see how much they have advanced. Base hit on that one. That's a huge section. Okay, here we go. This is a really good look at the area. Down here is Crimea. I think back to all the stuff that was telegraphed with this. From when this all first began with Crimea, Simferopol, Sevastopol, it really could have been a bigger thing in this whole war if Ukraine would have advanced. But Ukraine could never advance. They just couldn't. Russia has advanced, and you see this whole entire region. This whole huge chunk, surrounded in red here, this is what Russia's taken. And anything they take up to January 20th, I'm telling you, or until a deal is worked out, they're keeping all this. This is all new Russian territory. And they didn't even come close to doing anything to Crimea. I remember back when the war, right before this war popped loose, there was that song, Justin Timberlake had dropped Crimea River. And then after the Crimea thing broke loose and I was reporting on it, I kept talking about the everything going down there. And I was like, man, it just seemed like another telegraph. Not to mention, I witnessed the Pope, before everything broke loose in Ukraine, ever, I witnessed the Pope take 2 peace doves to the window and release them with 2 Ukrainian children. And they got shredded. And this is right before Obama started everything in there. And, man, legendary. DC. Man, oh man, I can't thank you enough. I'm getting lost for words, man. You come through with support like no one else. It's insane. Coming through like that is just a blessing. Thank you. Appreciate it more than you know. I'm going to let Tucker Carlson give an update. Believe it or not, he's back in Russia. And, well, as this says, here's why. I'll let him explain. Again, DC, thank you. Much love. God bless. Legendary.
In the week since we left Russia, Moscow, where we are now, in February after interviewing Vladimir Putin, we've watched from the United States as the Biden administration has driven the U.S. ever closer to a nuclear conflict with Russia, the country that possesses the world's largest nuclear arsenal. It has accelerated ever since, and it's reached its apogee so far in the weeks after Trump's election. He is now the president-elect. In that time, just a few weeks ago, the Biden administration, American military personnel, launched missiles into mainland Russia and killed at least a dozen Russian soldiers. So we are, unbeknownst to most Americans, in a hot war with Russia, an undeclared war, a war you did not vote for and that most Americans don't want, but that is ongoing. And because of that war, because of the fact that the U.S. military is killing Russians in Russia right now, we are closer to nuclear war than at any time in history. Far closer than we were during the Cuban Missile Crisis. That would mean the elimination of Russia, the United States, and most of the rest of the world. We felt there must be someone behind the scenes in Washington working to make sure that this conflict doesn't become a nuclear holocaust. But we found out that no, in fact, there is nobody. Tony Blinken, the current Secretary of State, cut off all contact between the U.S. and Russian governments. There is no back channel, there is no conversation, and there hasn't been for more than 2 years. That's shocking. Meanwhile, most Americans have no access to any perspective other than that granted to them by NBC News and the New York Times. They don't know how close we are. They don't know the Russian perspective. We've been trying for over a year to get that perspective out to American news consumers. We've also tried for over a year to get an interview with Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. We've attacked that from a bunch of different angles. We've spoken to a lot of different people around him, had dinner with them. We've been in talks continuously, and those efforts have been thwarted by the U.S. government. The American embassy in Kiev, which our tax dollars pay for, told the Zelensky government, no, you may not do the interview. You can talk to CNN, you can't talk to us. So we've been unable to speak to him. So we came back to Moscow yesterday to interview the foreign minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, the longest serving foreign minister in the world. He's been a part of this government for 25 years. He's been in the diplomatic corps for over 40. And ask him, where exactly are we? Are we headed toward an unprecedented conflict between Russia and the United States? Is there any way to peel Russia back from the east, from the sphere of China, back into the west? Is that alliance permanent? And does the election of Donald Trump mean an end to this war, which is reshaping the world, the U.S. economy, the global economy, and risking the life of every person on this planet? Is that possible? We just walked out of that interview. It's absolutely fascinating. It's coming very soon. We hope you'll watch.
Man, so, you know, Tucker just said we are in a hot war that is unbeknownst to most Americans. And thank you for those gifteds. Welcome to the underground. We are in a hot war with Russia. We are there right now. And Tony Blinken, this piece of work, this treasonous political piece of scum, when you just look at him, again, it's just an embarrassment. Man, we've been sold out so bad. Yeah, all these people got to go. So you hear all this talk right now about everything's going to change, Trump administration going to change all this stuff. Well, we're going to see. Like, it's almost like, let's get it on with already. Like, let's see. We're going to get you in there, and let's see what you guys are going to do to make things better. Because I'm calling things out every step of the way. My thing is, I feel like we're in for some big events. It doesn't matter. Like, I think we're in some, like huge events. We'll see where this goes, man. Oh, man. It's such a stage, isn't it? World is a stage. So, they rolled out these Oreshnik missiles. These are the hypersonics I keep talking about. These Oreshniks. I haven't heard Trump, anyone in our military, nobody, anything counter to say a word about anything about these, although they're very much aware. Like directly. They're basically threatening here, saying that look, if you want to mesh with China, you're gonna get one of these coming at you. So it was interesting what he was just saying. Like, is there a chance though to ever bring the alliance back between Russia and the United States? If you did that, you stomp out pretty much everybody else. We won World War II because it was Russia and the United States that were together. And together, we're unstoppable. Red, white, and blue, two Christian nations, we're unstoppable. But war doesn't work when you've got that. It's too dominant of a block, per se. And it's just crazy because when you go back and you look at all the world history, we were having parades, like celebrating in Moscow and Russia after the end of the war and all this. And then all of a sudden, the generals all had their private meetings. They exited, and then from there, it was like Russia was told, you go back to your corner, we're going to go back to our corner, and we're going to play this as enemies. Yes, Pure Bloods for life. Thank you for the coffees and the support, my brother. Thank you to the fullest. Masks are coming off. Interesting time. I mean, again, I'm just ready for Trump to make some moves here, and let's see what he really does. And I'm ready to start. I'm just ready. A lot can happen between now and January 20th. They throw things into disarray. I mean, for instance, any one thing that could spark a national emergency under Joe Biden. Are you kidding me? Like, you'd be stuck with him for the duration of the emergency. Like lockdowns or anything crazy like that. That's the one thing you better hope they don't try to press. They're capable of doing it. We know they are. Yeah, so, all right, check this out. Remember on the last stream I told you that, like, I keep saying, this is World War, right? We're in World War. They're doing crazy things. Like, I fully expect, like, our whole grid to get hit. Or, like, comms to get totally taken down. The banking system. Something is going to happen. Okay, something huge. Well, what they do, they took out 2 major undersea cables connecting different parts of Europe. Critical ones. Okay? Who did it? Well, China. They were pretty much busted. On satellite, being right in the neck of the woods, being in both spots right when it happened. They're pretty much busted red-handed. And they were said to have dropped their anchor and pulled it over these fiber cables and ripped them and destroyed them in 2 different spots. Again, they have them on satellite, they busted them, and they chased them down and caught them and surrounded them, the Chinese vessel, okay? That was a military move from China and Russia. It was tactical, and they even admitted afterwards that it likely just stalled out any and all plans of anything that they were getting ready to launch or do or anything like that. It really did. Look at what we got here. This isn't in the ocean on the floor. This time, this is on land. Telecoms cables between Sweden and Finland damaged in 2 separate places. It's almost like a kind of mirror type event, but on land. So now they're saying, they're reporting all the services of internet and communications from the company Global Connect are disrupted as a result of 2 cable breaks between Sweden and Finland. The authorities said they're taking this seriously in that this is physical attack. They were severed in southern Finland. So, someone's targeting communications, key communication lines, en masse, on the ocean floor, on land. They've done it. You usually don't, if you do this, it's for a reason, okay? Right? And if you're gonna do it, that usually means to me, if I put myself in their shoes and I'm trying to think this thing out like the bad guy, what are they doing here? They're taking out communications, right? I always tell you this is the first thing you do in war. You take out the enemy's comms. You're witnessing it. Do you know what comes next? Huh? You don't do this for nothing. You don't take the time to make your move, because now it's done, to destroy and take out comms and then do nothing. They have taken out comms to critical places. These are war moves, I am telling you. Anyone with the eyes to see can see clearly. Anybody in the military can probably see clearly this day. What comes next are attacks, or moves. Either that or more comms disruptions. They're not done. This is pretty big, man. Also, if you didn't hear, South Korea sprung into martial law. Okay? For a short time. They're saying it was the shortest martial law in history. Because chaos is kicking up. This isn't good because it seems like they can feel and sense a hostility. Something's about to happen, especially with North Korea. Remember, North Korea blew up all the bridges and downed the DMV and did all this stuff, and now they're involved in sending troops to this war front with Russia's world war. And like, this is a front between North and South Korea. It could go hot at any time, and there's a lot of tension. They went into martial law, and then it got lifted because protests hit the streets big time. People were chanting and all this other stuff. But man, it's tense here on the Korean Peninsula. And then take into account that Russia is sending its missiles and technology to North Korea. You put hypersonics into the hands of Kim Jong-un, that freaking nutbag, it's over. He's done shot missile after missile after missile out over top of Japan and all this stuff. But now, Japan is in a position where the world's going to let them fire back, so to speak. You know, because they weren't allowed to have offensive weapons after World War II. It was part of the treaty. But now, since things are getting the way they are, they've been switching up all the framework and the wording of what they can do. And, oh man, this time Japan's fallen on our side, the United States side, in big war. You know, it was us bombing Japan that ended the last war, but now in this one, you know, kind of by force, like they're our ally in this against China, Russia, Iran. You know. It looks like the Philippines is falling on our side. Australia. If a war was to break out, those would be our closest allies in the area. Let's get a quick check in on the border real quick before we shut everything down. I got a couple more stories here. We're going to end with some talk on these UAPs, UFOs, drones. This mayor of NYC has sure changed his tune a whole lot here as of late. He's basically saying, now cancel me if that's what you think you're going to do or want to do. He's going to work with Trump on mass deportations. I'm telling you, there's about to be stress. How do you think they're going to do this? Teams are going to be going down and around every block, rounding people up, going into businesses, into apartment buildings. I'm telling you, okay? Wow. Thank you, Brian, for dropping this link for the high satanic holidays. Wouldn't you know it, that January 20th, in the whole week following the 27th, is a high satanic holiday. Calling for abduction, ceremonial preparation, holding of sacrificial victim for Candlemas. It calls for sexual and blood sacrifice, the usage for oral, anal, vaginal, human sacrifice, a female or child of any age on this day. Well, that's a window. Most of the days on there are just days, but the one before it is January 17th, and then the next one is January 20th, but it runs through the 27th. It's a huge window. It's the only huge window of its kind. Can you believe that? Can you believe that Trump is getting ushered in as our president in the biggest high satanic window that there is? Not just Trump, any of our presidents, all the time. Reminds me of Obama. Yes, we can. It was, hail Satan, is what he was saying. Just skimming down May Day, one that we know always goes down. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff there. So we've got that's the biggest one. It's a week. It's just crazy. What are the odds that it's that week? The biggest it's like the biggest. I mean, you kid me. I mean, I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, just imagine, take the satanic part out of it for a second, but just imagine this is the list of holidays, okay? And then you get to one that's a whole week. You're like, wow, that's got to be the biggest holiday of them all. You know, like, it's that week. Like, are you kidding me? It's just nuts. It is what it is. Okay, now you know. Better to know than not know. Realize what it is. All hell breaks loose. Stuff's going down this whole week. Remember what you're in. You're in a high satanic week. All the energy's crazy around that week. Again, I showed you footage of me being in D.C. the last time it happened, and it was chaos in the streets and all this other stuff. It was high, crazy energy. So I expect to see more this time. We've got Chicago residents pissed off about these migrants. Pissed off that they're getting housing, pissed off that they're getting free food, pissed off they're getting all this. And, like, They're getting more than what everyday citizens that are here are getting. And it's like, it's about time that people are really rising up and going to these meetings and saying these things, man.
Okay, so I got a great way how we can what we can do with this budget. First, let's start with cutting off illegals, getting free everything. Free housing, free schooling, free food. Yeah, let's start with that. That'll save us a lot of money. What, $600 million? Let's start there. Then let's start with your salary. You are going down in history as the worst mayor in America. Let's start with cutting yours. You making too much money. Let's start there. And now let's start with the police detail you had, the 200 police detail you had. Let's start with that. Because you Democrats, and you remember you told us to defund the police? Remember, you ran on that. Remember, you was to defund the police? Let's start with that. Let's defund the police detail that you have. And let's put the police back in our neighborhood, because we're not for defunding the police. We need the police. So let's start with all the Democrats, because y'all policy, what y'all push in our neighborhood, defund the police. So all y'all that got police details and got police presence around y'all house, let's start with cutting that. That'll save a lot of money. So won't you just practice what you preach? Remove all the details. We saw you coming in today. You had all the police presence. So let's take some of that away. And then let's start with and I'm asking you all, and I'm telling you all, aldermen, whatever property tax hike he's proposing, or whatever taxes he's proposing on the Chicago citizens, I'm letting y'all know for real. And now, if you all vote on anything to raise all taxes or anything, because we already suffering, homeowners, you all will not be in those seats.
Somebody's got to step up and tell it how it is. You know, somebody's got to put some heat to the feet, right? As this one says, open borders have created a terror attack time bomb in the United States for 2025. This is how I see it. I see exactly this. I've told you this. I've warned about it. I keep warning about it. What's about to happen. Again, tonight I've shown you ominous signs. Something huge is about to happen right around this high satanic window of inauguration. And I think that we're going into full-scale war. I'm talking car bombings. All the crazy terrorist crap that comes with it. We're about to see to the max. The war front brought to us right here. Going into this next summer, ramping up, it's probably going to get very crazy and hectic. Man, Quantum, thank you for the love and much love and respect back. Prayers, 228, Pure Bloods, through and through. You know, I'm going to jump on to the next one, but I'm telling you, this is it. Once this all begins, you look back, you remember. Quiet before the storm, before any of it ever began. You remember the good old days. Back when, you thought you had it. You always think you have it bad, but it's like, man, it used to be so much better. It used to be so much better, but when this place is in full-blown war, yeah. Just thinking back to the days before it. Yeah. You'll be like, those were the good old days. we're on the end of those. If that's the case, I feel shootouts, kidnappings, everything you can think of is going to explode from this. All right, well, this brings me to my next one, my last one here for the night. I put a video out on this, and this is just perplexing for many different reasons. Okay, dive right on into this here. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? What is it? They look to be, in many instances here, from what I can tell, all this looks to be 100% drone activity. But I can't rule out that some of it is a UAP because of some of the clips I've seen. Because they weren't all the same. Anything that's like a solid ball of light that I see, it can be classified as something else. Potentially. Outside of like these smaller lights, that's indicative of being part of a drone. I fly a drone. I have a drone. I'm a drone pilot. I know what it looks like in the sky at night. I know that you've got these red, you've got green lights. You've got them. They flash a certain way. There's certain things that all these drones have to have on them just to be able to fly them. And they're there for those visual purposes. These things are wanting to be seen. Okay? They're definitely not trying to hide. I've heard a ton of different rumors about what's going on with these. Some of it seems just like disinformation. I mean, I've got a lot of different information that people said, but there was no proof. Again, it's not always that it's disinfo, but, you know, it's tricky with stuff like this. Sometimes the best stuff you got is the video footage. It just speaks for itself. There's plenty of that going around. All kinds of people have shared it. It's all over my Twitter feed, or X feed. There's something going on. And in the video that I put out, all the people are talking and explaining that these objects are in the sky, and that this one lady specifically says that, you know, she's been here her whole life. She watches planes go by on a certain route, but the planes no longer go by on that route. And that to me, the spidey senses go off. The flags start flying. What I do, how things come together with me out there, there's something ain't right then. If the flight pattern that you've been watching your whole freaking life that you've lived here has changed all of a sudden, associated with these things showing up, then your government definitely knows what's going on. This is bigger than what any of them want to say. So I got information tonight that said, and it was just in a tweet, I had no proof on this, okay? But it had stated that they were trying to track down those drones were trying to track down radiation or something that came from a container off one of the shipping containers in the port of New Jersey. And it was a race against time to find it because it could be a dirty bomb and all this. And I'm like, man, it just sounds a little too far-fetched. Like, give me some proof. Show me some proof. Like, where you getting this? Like, give me a little bit something more. And, like, there was nothing. And I was just like, damn it. Like, well, you know, I said it. I threw it out there. I threw it out there what it could potentially be right now, I'm saying. But I had no other proof or no evidence of it. That there's anything like that. Look, these things are the size of a freaking car. The one guy says there are hundreds of them. Let me play this clip. Hundreds that they've witnessed. And there's many different people. Play this clip for those that ain't seen it, so you can get caught up with what's going on here.
So that's it. It looks like it's flying pretty low. And from that perspective, it looks very large, right? And all those lights in the sky that you see there, see those lights?
For those that are just now, if you're just starting to pay attention, there it is in the sky. It's massive. It almost looks like a plane from that angle. It's so big. But it's not. It's a drone. It stops. It goes all kinds of different ways. But here we go. And in the second clip, they're spread out across the sky when she says a V-shaped formation. So you got to look close and see. This is what I'm talking about. I don't know if those are different or not because they're so far away. But here we go.
So that's it. It looks like it's flying pretty low. And from that perspective, it looks very large, right? And all those lights in the sky that you see there, see those lights? Those are apparently drones as well, they say, seeming to fly in a V formation. But the whole saga stressing people out nearby.
We're all completely unnerved. I didn't sleep last night. When I would get up and look out my window at 2 a.m., 4 a.m., they were still hovering. I got up at 5:30 this morning and they were still there. As the sun was starting to rise, they went back in the same direction they came from. And I expect they'll be back as soon as the sun goes down tonight.
It's normal to see red and green lights in December, unless they're coming from mysterious drones in the night sky.
It's kind of unsettling. They're not up for 15 minutes, they're up for hours. Some are very big, probably the size of a car.
Mike Walsh says he's seen hundreds of them over the past 2 weeks from his Randolph backyard and has the video to prove it.
They kind of go slow, they come towards you, then they'll change direction a little. They're all going different ways.
The drones have been spotted all over Morris County. Morristown police sent an alert to residents Sunday saying they are aware of drone activity and that if a drone crashes or lands, do not approach or handle it. The FBI's Newark field office would only say it is working with other law enforcement agencies to figure out what's going on, but at the moment doesn't have enough information to share.
A lot of people want to know what's going on. I think more people are coming around to that, oh, this is going on and maybe it's not good.
Nancy Reed didn't want to show her face on camera, but says she's seen the drones every night since November 18th.
I can see them right out my bedroom window. I can watch them. Last night was about 5:30, so it was earlier. But it's normally anywhere between like 7:30 and 10:30, they're out here. Never during the day. Nobody ever sees them during the day.
One thing she hasn't seen is the normal air traffic she's used to, and she doesn't understand why.
We're in the fly pattern going to like Morristown Airport and Newark, and we used to see a lot of planes coming back and forth. You don't see them anymore.
Now, we also reached out to Picatinny Arsenal because of reports that the drones were flying over the military base. So far, we have not heard back.
Imagine that. Have not heard back. They're not saying nothing. Let me tell you something. Hundreds of freaking massive drones are flying around this area. They're seeing them every night. Now listen, I was talking to Hoodie about this earlier. They need tracked. If I was in a different position right now, if I was closer to up here, I'd done it. I'd do it. I'd be there like tonight or like ASAP. But I don't have the means to do it at this moment. But let me tell you, anyone can do this. Okay? And if you're listening to me and you're in the Jersey area, you're someone that's near this stuff and you've seen it, boy, oh boy, we got a job for you because this needs done. They need tracked. Okay? Now let me tell you what I would do. First and foremost, if I go up here, what needs to be done, if anybody wants to do it, I would look at the exact little towns here in region where this is happening. Do some Googling. Google. You're going to find plenty of different links. Watch them, read them all, write down town names, things of that nature. And then see if you know anybody from around that area. Any connections that would help or anyone that knows that region. Get your camera and everything ready and go up there, and if you could find a witness like they just had in that video, that first lady that was like 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're still there. Someone like that, because what does she say? She says they end up leaving, going back in the direction they came from. If you can talk to a witness like that, they're going to be able to tell you where they're coming from and going back to. You have a location instantly. As soon as the night begins and these things start to appear and they're flying around, I'm rolling down the windows. We're driving around. We're trying to film this and also track them. We're trying to zoom in on them, trying to see what they're doing, if they got any markings. What I'm ultimately doing is, if we know that they came from a certain area and now they're appearing, I'm making my way that way. Okay? Because apparently towards sunrise, these things are sitting out there all night long, which I find it's almost impossible with an everyday drone that you like buy at the store, like it's an everyday person. Their battery life at max is 20, 30 minutes. Okay? I have a DJI Phantom 3 drone, flown it for years. I know what it takes and how long you can get in the air on a battery. When you move up to these things that are the size of cars, usually they're Predator drone type deals where they fly like a plane. But these seem to be more of a 6-axis type of drone that's got like 6 propellers or something like that, 6 to 8 propellers all the way around it, and they're massive. That's what they look to be like, those type, about the size of a car, small car or something. And the lights are kind of giving that away to me, because all the drone aircraft, you have to have certain lighting on it. And I know this because I'm a drone pilot. And you use that at night to navigate into all this other stuff. They're there for a reason. So when you see all that, you know that that's like man-made. You know what I'm saying? That rolls UAP out like it's not hovering around, it's not zipping, it's not blipping, it's not flashing, it's not doing anything like a UFO or UAP in a lot of these clips. And they're not being reported as such. They're being reported as drones that are showing up, hovering, flying around all these different areas, hundreds, and disappearing back into no man's land, I guess, as the sun rises. That's garbage. Dude, if these things are in the sky and there's that damn many, we're going to find them, is how I feel. There's like no way. It's like, come on. If you live up there and you know this is going on, hop in the car, make a night of it, grab the camera, gas up, and start driving in the direction of where they're going. I mean, Jersey's not all that big. This whole region and area, there's multiple military bases and facilities around there. I can almost guarantee you, you're going to dead end into something interesting. A gate on a road into a property that belongs to somebody, and then we can research that and we're going to know. You see, it's something. It's all something. Where there's a will, there's a way. This doesn't seem that hard, man. It doesn't. Just somebody to put in the effort. And I think you figure it out. It'd be huge. And I'll break it right here. I'll break your findings right here. You can even stay anonymous if you want. Whatever. We need answers, man. Remember, before this, they were showing up outside of the bases in Virginia. Again and again and again. And they didn't tell nobody. They waited some time. And like, oh yeah, this has been happening. They just keep showing up. They've been showing up every night for weeks, they said. Over our military installations. Like, dude, and you don't care? Like, this is them telling us this. And it's like, hold on. So then it's not you then. It's not you then. It can't be you then. Or you would be saying it's you. You're not saying that. The military is saying, no, we have mystery drones that have popped up over our bases there. Now this. I find it hard to believe they don't know who this is. Look, again, I'm a drone pilot. They have taken my drone down out of the sky. That's what they can do. They've stopped me from even taking off from certain places. That's what they can do. And you're going to tell me you don't know who all these, she's flying car-sized drones in every night. Get out of here, dude. Pathetic. What's more concerning now is that you should realize they know. They know. They know who this is and what this is. But the fact they're not saying nothing. If they would have came out and said, oh, it's for a research project from this group or blah, 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 or just came out and gave a reason, something valid, then it would have been valid, right? But they're not doing that. Like, this is suspect. This is suspect. But look, so was balloons going over our country that they should have shot down, they never did, that went right over military installations, that should have been drifting with the wind, but were not. They were being controlled and all this other stuff. All ended up being Chinese after it was all too late. And they still didn't seem like they cared. This is a setup bigger than crap, dude. I'm telling you, we've been sold out. Damage done been done. A million Chinese already up in here. On property butted right up next to the bases. How fucking convenient. We're done. We're done. It's a setup bigger than you've ever seen. This is crazy, man. Like, I don't know. Let's keep wondering, when's people going to wake up and realize, like, maybe when this all goes into motion and explosions start happening and all this crazy, maybe then people will see that it's begun here. Maybe then they'll start taking it serious. Maybe then they'll start wanting to get together, band together to do something about all this madness. But enemies already here. So that damage are already done. They're already here lurking wherever they're at. Chances are if they're in a neighborhood, your neighborhood, you already know. You'd have seen them. You already seen what's in town. For the most part. They'd already done been here. You'd know. If you're in an area you ain't seen a lot of gang activity, it's a plus. Some of these big cities, man, let me say that the sanctuary cities, they're about to get targeted hard. Targeted hard in the sweep. Look, man, these drones are a government contractor, in my opinion. Or your government. It all leads back to your government. Military, government contractor, all the same to me. And this isn't good. Something is up. Big time. Big time. With this. Every night. I mean, I guarantee you it's happening right now. Every night. Every night, all night long. They say all night long. They're zipping around. How do they got the tank to do that? The battery life. It just makes no sense. If these have got to be some of the baddest, most high-tech, and they don't want to be seen visually, I guess. They're not coming out in the daytime. They maybe don't care that people see the lights. As long as you ain't making out, I guess, what it looks like. Hundreds. Man, I'm telling you, this is something that needs to be solved right here, folks. I mean, somebody needs to answer to this. Local something. Like, start somewhere. Go to a damn local fire department. Ask them, like, anybody care? Like, what are these things? What happens when one comes down to my property? You know, they're saying if they come down, to don't touch it. Call law enforcement and this and that. I find that kind of odd. Oh, I'd get pictures and video and the whole nine of everything of it if one came down. Be a shame if one just mysteriously caught a potato from a potato gun launcher and it came down, huh? And it landed in your yard. You'd know what's up with it then. I don't know. I'll update on this, man. I think it's gonna escalate. It has been. This is different than the orbs, though. Like that clip over New York City, that was like a couple seconds of that orb in broad daylight. Like those are orbs. Those are UAPs. Them things dash around. They move through the air different. Drone's a drone. I know the movement. I know the lighting. I know all that. When I see it, I know that. Those orbs, the UAPs, they're a different animal. They're guided different. They move different. Totally different. It's total different technology and thing happening there. Anyhow, if you guys got anything on this, let me know. Dabu7@yahoo.com. As I always say, eyes to the skies. Brings me to the end of another one. Yeah. So, yeah, fitting. It's midnight. So these streams just never know. 2 hours, couple hours, 3 hours, what? We got it in. I want to thank you guys for joining me again. I'm looking to go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern to cover any and all the madness like we did tonight. Look to be dropping videos on the daily for the most part. I don't think I did today. It was super busy. To restock wood, do all kinds of other crap. Hope you guys are staying warm out there. I know we're trying to. Hope you all stay safe. I want to thank everyone that supports the channel. It's appreciated more than you know. Those that share it, those who keep me in their prayers. It's all appreciated more than you know. And yeah, much love. I'm going to shut it down. I look to be back on the next one. Shall be safe out there. I was just thinking the other day, man, the people we've lost. Carolina May. Kart racer. There's so many, man. You never know when the last time you're going to see someone. I'm going to look over in a chat and see somebody for the last time. So, much love. Always. If I don't see you in this life, I will see you on the other side, man. Come holler at me in the rock. We fight that good fight, man, through and through. Thank you, mods. MC, I see you. Gabriel, Loudon. TNF. Yup. Guess what? Just like that, it's another day. It's the 5th of December, and time's flying. Time is absolutely flying by. Man. Where's it going? All right, man. Much love. Much love, Eon. Thank you and God bless. Legendary. And again, thank you, DC. Much love.